It is time to get our jingle jangle on. Hey everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome to my channel. Today, Christmas kicks off on my channel. I cannot wait. I have rounded up some of my most favorite Christmas DIYs to share with you, so let's get crafting. We're kicking this off with a Dollar Tree DIY. You want to grab one of these wood plank signs that Dollar Tree always has. You might remember that I did a fall village house with one. I'm cutting it down to about 12 inches long. I'm using the end that doesn't have the design, just using my miter shears to get that trimmed up along with my hobby knife. And then once I get it cut down, I did give the top a light sanding and then I painted it with some blue paint. While the sign is drying, I grabbed this snowman pack that I bought on Amazon. It came with hats and noses and hands and buttons. Everything you see in today's video will be linked down below in the description box, so just check there. But if you have questions, just let me know. And I went through and picked out some noses along with some hats. From there, I went into my wood bead stash and grabbed one of these large wood beads that had the half side that was flat. And then I glued on a smaller one for the head again that had the half side of it flat. I ended up making a total of 4 snowmen. I painted all my snowmen with some Waverly White chalk paint, and then I was ready to start working on my Christmas tree that I wanted to put on my board. I'm using this Christmas willow from Dollar Tree, and I wanted to cut a piece of this that was going to be long enough to represent the trunk of my Christmas tree. So I'm just using my tin snips to get that cut. I find it easy with these wires that it's the best tool for the job. Once I got my piece ready and trimmed down, I just used my hot glue gun to get the trunk attached to the sign. From there, I had one of these Christmas trees in my stash, and again, using my tin snips, I just started snipping off little branches and I hot glued those down as well to the sign. Here's what the tree looks like. I ended up using 7 branches on each side of the tree, and now I'm ready to work on my snowmen. So I actually ended up using 5 snowmen. I used 4 snowmen that were the exact same size, where it was just the same 2 beads hot glued together, and then 1 snowman where the base of that snowman was a little bit larger, and that's going to be the bottom snowman. So I'm taking some of these noses from my little pack and I am trimming them down, and then I wanted to give all of my snowmen some scarves, so I'm just using a different ribbon and tying it around their necks to make the scarves. Now I was ready to start building my snowman stack. So I used some acrylic markers to make the eyes on these, and then using my little sharp pointy owl tool, I poked on the side of each of the snowman's belly so that I could put the arms in. Now for the arms, I'm using that same willow branch from Dollar Tree, and I'm just kind of cutting it to size and using a little bit of hot glue where I, jabbed them with the pointy thing and then sticking the arm in. For the first one, I went ahead and got him glued down and put the arm where I needed to go. And then I put the next snowman, did one arm, and I continued till I got the snowman glued down. And then I went in and added the other arm, added the noses, added a few more details, made their cheeks nice and pink. And once they were all secure, I was ready to wrap this sign up. To finish it up, I grabbed some of this white fuzzy fabric that I had in my stash and hot glued it down to the bottom of the sign. I also grabbed some mini pom-poms and made a little snowman pile, or a snowball stack at the bottom of the snowman. Also put some of the colored pom-poms in the tree as ornaments. And then as you can tell, the top little snowman is holding a little star. I glued that down. And the finishing touch is I just went in and did a few little white, I guess you could call them snowflakes. They were dots on the sign. And then this was finished and ready to be displayed. This wintry wreath is an easy one to make. You want to grab yourself one of these green wreath forms from Dollar Tree and 3 of these dust washcloth card thingamabob rags. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but you can find them in the car aisle. You want to cut them in half and then take some hot glue, and you're just going to wrap those halves all the way around. You're going to end up actually using 2.5 of the rags. That's why you need 3. And once you get it nice and covered, you certainly could leave this wreath as is. It is gorgeous by itself. You could work in some fairy lights to this and just keep it, like I said, very simple. Add some little snowflakes, go gold, go silver, go whatever color you want, but I did want to add something to the center, and I decided to just add a variety of bottle brush trees. So I decided I wanted to go with the white and pink and gold look. So I just popped off the bottoms of the trees and used a little hot glue, stuck them in right in the center, and that's it. I kept it super simple, but I absolutely love how it turns out, and my daughter has it hanging on her bedroom door. If you love gingerbread, you are going to love this DIY. I found this really neat variety pack of Christmas themed beads on Amazon, and so I picked out some beads and decided what my pattern was going to be. And then I also grabbed this huge pack of gingerbread ornaments, again on Amazon. I will definitely, don't forget, I'll try to link everything down below in the description box. I kind of sorted through. I needed to use 2 of these, and I picked out the 2 that I wanted. And then I was ready to string up my beads. I'm just using some red and white baker's twine that came from Michael's, and I just strung up my gingerbread, got it to the length that I needed it, and then I just simply tied them on. You could definitely add a tassel if you wanted to, but I absolutely love how this turned out. I love having it in my kitchen. I can't wait to show you what my gingerbread kitchen looks like this year. I'm making a bunch of fun stuff for it, and I can't wait to show you what it's gonna look like. For this Dollar Tree DIY, you want to grab one of these little ceramic plates on a stand. I don't know what you want to call it. You're going to end up taking off the kickstand on the back, but I decided to paint it red. You certainly could paint it any color you want for this DIY, black, green, blue, totally up to you. With that painted, set it aside. You want to grab another one of those wooden beads that has a flat side on it and paint it white. The star of the show here is going to be white glue sticks. You want to make a nice big puddle of white hot glue on this red ceramic tray. Now, once you work with it, it does take a little while. It may look like this. That's okay. My tip for this and my little hack, whenever you're working with the colored glue sticks and you want to have a nice smooth consistency, just take your heat gun, go over it, and it will kind of remelt it and make it all blend together until you get a nice smooth consistency. Now it's time to attach the wooden bead head, so just glue that down. You certainly could stick it down in your white puddle of glue if it was still soft. Mine just had happened to already harden. And then I'm going to be using some more of those willow branches from Dollar Tree to make arms kind of coming out. I had some of these little mini white buttons, but I wanted them to be black, so I used my Sharpie marker to color them black, and then I just softened up the glue again, attached my buttons and attached the arms, and then drew on a face again with some acrylic markers, and then gave the little snowman a hat. And yes, he looks happy to be melted. I just like to think of that saying, some people are worth melting for, and that is why he's smiling. While we're talking about colored glue sticks, you want to grab a huge pack of these wooden spoons from Amazon. The next thing you want to do is you either want to use the free CRICUT cut file that I have linked down below in the description to cut out some fun Christmas words. If you don't have a CRICUT, here are your other options. You can get some mini stamped letters and stamp words onto it. You can also find stickers that are already have Christmas words in places like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and they also have tiny letter stickers there as well. So lots of options for you, even if you don't have a CRICUT. I did choose to use some red, white, and green vinyl just to add a little festive cheer to these spoons. But again, the words can be totally up to you. You can make Christmas movie words, just anything that makes you think of Christmas time. Now, for one of the spoons, I did want to show you, you can turn it into an ornament. I'm just using my rotary tool that has the little drill bit on it. If you're kind of afraid of the big power tools, this is a great option of a tool. It comes with all kinds of attachments, and I'm drilling a little hole at the top that will allow me to turn this into an ornament. The other spoons I am just leaving as they are because they'll be just kind of little fillers to put on tiered trays and things like that. You'll need some faux sprinkles. I love to get mine on Amazon. These faux sprinkles are just made out of clay, but there's so many varieties and they're so fun to work with. And then of course the star, the brown hot glue. So you want to just squirt your brown hot glue onto your spoons and then just start putting the sprinkles on there and just go to town. You can make so many different varieties of this. You could definitely add bows to it if you wanted to. Lots of options, but these would also be great little things that you could add as an embellishment to a gift. So many fun things to do with this cute little project. Now, this little Dollar Tree makeover is perfect actually you could hang it on a tree, or you could even just let it be its own little sign. I started by breaking down this sign and using some of this blue burlap that I got from Hobby Lobby. I just measured out a piece of it, used some Mod Podge to attach it to the sign, and then trimmed off the extra and reattached the frame that was originally on this little sign. From there, I sketched out what I wanted my snowman to look like. I wanted it to look like he was kind of taking a selfie and peeking out of the corner. So I started by painting white for his head. I did black on its hat with some embellishment, and then I painted an eye, well, not an eye. That would be a little weird. It's not a Cyclops snowman. 2 eyes and a nose and a mouth. And then I added some little dots again for snowflakes in the scene and finished it off by reattaching the beads and adding a bow. I absolutely love this little snowman. He just makes me happy. I don't know what it is about his facial expression, what it is, but I just think it's really cute. If you need a quick, easy, last-minute gift idea, this is one that you need to keep in mind. It's a quick little wood burning project. Grab yourself a cutting board. I grabbed this one on clearance from Hobby Lobby when their spring stuff went on sale, and I created this little hot cocoa stencil in CRICUT. Now, if you don't have a CRICUT, you can get some of these type stencils at places at Michael's and Hobby Lobby that have the stick on and it stays really well. So definitely check there. Even if you don't have a CRICUT, you can find stencils already made. And you want to take your torch paste and put on a very thin coat onto your stencil. Let it sit for 3 minutes. Peel it off and then use your heavy duty heat gun. Remember, you can't use the little guy. You got to use the big, huge, heavy duty one to wood burn into your cutting board. Once it's all wood burned, all I did was add a little bow to this and it was finished. Again, this is a great little, oh no, I forgot to get so-and-so a gift, and you can whip these out in no time at all. While we're talking about hot cocoa, let's make a fun s'more ornament. So from Dollar Tree or your favorite craft store, you want to grab one of these wood planks along with 3 tumbling tower blocks. I used the tumbling tower blocks to kind of mark off where I needed to trim my wood plank down. I started by using my hobby knife to kind of score it, and then went in with my miter shears to cut it apart. Now this piece of the wood plank is going to be painted kind of a graham cracker color, so I'm just using a light tannish color to get that nice and coated, and then the 3 tumbling tower blocks are going to be painted brown. Once those are painted, you need 2 wooden dice from Dollar Tree, and you want to paint those with a good coat of white paint. Time to add some details to the graham cracker. Now this is Restore by Decor. Y'all, this color is the best color for gingerbread. You're going to probably see me using it a lot during the Christmas season, so highly recommend this color. I just used a paintbrush to paint on some details to the graham cracker, and then I hot glued down the 3 brown tumbling tower blocks, glued my 2 white snowman dice together, and then again poked the holes, and using those willow branches again from Dollar Tree, I'm using those as the arms, securing them in with a little bit of hot glue. To finish this off, you need to add a carrot nose to your little S'mores Snowman. You could definitely use a carrot if you have that snowman kit, or I just used some orange clay to make the nose and glued it on. Then take a marker and mark your face and your eyes. I opted to use some red and white fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby to make a scarf. I just cut a strip of it, tied it around. You definitely could use ribbon. You want to hot glue your little marshmallow man to the little chocolate pieces on there, and then this is ready to be displayed. You could add an eye hook at the top if you want to turn it into an ornament, or you can just leave it freestanding like this to display as you will. Are there any Frosty the Snowman fans? Well, then this DIY will be for you. This is a two-parter, so you want to start with one of these hat ornaments from Dollar Tree. I broke it down, taking off all the little extra embellishments, and then wrapped it again with some blue felt. I took a piece of black felt to wrap kind of at the base of the hat, and then white felt I cut into a flower and added a pink center and hot glued that on there to make Frosty's hat. So this was step one. Step two is to take one of these small frames, and I took some light blue cardstock. I used the insert of this frame just to trace around on the blue cardstock, cut it out and attached it to the backing, and then put that back into the frame. From there, I took some letters from Dollar Tree and a snowflake from Dollar Tree that I painted white, and what I put on the blue cardstock was Frosty's baby picture, and I hot glued the little snowflake down and attached the hat to the top. I just thought this was a cute little kind of reference to Frosty and just some kind of different DIY about our lovable snowman. This DIY gives off all the Scandinavian vibes. I picked up some different color green felt on Amazon, and I found these really fun free cut files on this blog. I will definitely link it down below where I found it, and I cut it out on my CRICUT and I pressed it down onto the felt. Now, if you don't have a CRICUT, you definitely could still make this DIY. You just want to get yourself some iron-on transfer paper, print out the designs on the iron-on transfer paper, and then you can iron that on to the felt, and you should still be able to get this same look. So once I did that, I just folded the felt over, and then I just kind of free-handed, leaving a little bit of a border around each of the tree designs. Then just using some hot glue, I went along the edges until I got towards the bottom, where I went ahead and started stuffing it with just some pillow fluff, because that's what I like to use. And I did place my dowel rods inside there as well, securing it with a little bit of hot glue. And to display these, I decided to use a wood round that I had in my stash that originally came from Hobby Lobby. I drilled some holes so that I could get these placed down into my wood base, and that's it. I absolutely love this. You definitely could work in some fairy lights if you wanted to. I just love the look of these trees. You definitely could do some white felt trees. You could even go red and white. So lots of options, pink and white if that's your vibe. Lots of options to get this really fun look. This is probably one of my favorite DIYs from last year. You want to start with one of these bamboo cutting boards from the Dollar Tree Plus section, and your stencil that I created, the free cut file will be down below. Apply your stencil to your cutting board and then pull out that torch paste. Apply the torch paste, let it sit for 3 minutes, and then take your heavy duty heat gun to burn the wood. Now, because there is going to be food on this, this is how you make it food safe. You want to let it cool completely, then take baby wipes and wipe off until your baby wipes come up clean. And then I like to use Howard Butcher block sealer to seal it. I do about 3 coats, making sure to let it sit in between each coat, dry all the way. Sometimes I do a light sanding with a 320 grit sandpaper if I feel it's needed. And once it's nice and sealed, you're ready to decorate this really fun hot cocoa charcuterie board. Speaking of cutting boards, I grabbed this white cutting board from Dollar Tree and these really cute cookie sprinkle poster stickers that they had next to their poster board, spelled out the words "Oh snap," and then grabbed some more of those gingerbread ornaments that came in that huge pack. Did a little surgery by cutting their legs, hot glued those down, and I decided I wanted to add a little more color, so I did paint the edges as well as the handle of the cutting board with some red paint. Finished it off with a bow, and this is a cute little accent piece for my gingerbread kitchen. This is a fun one that you can make not only for your own Christmas tree, but these would be great little embellishments on gifts that you might give. So for each one of these little presents that we're going to make, you need 3 tumbling tower blocks. You certainly could paint them like I am doing, or you could wrap them with wrapping paper, you could wrap them with fabric, you could leave them natural, stain them, lots of options. You want to hot glue 3 of these together, and then I'm just taking some ribbon to finish off each of these presents using hot glue to secure that. I just kind of did crisscross, piece the bow together, and then once that's done, I am using an eye hook to screw in to one side in the center of the present, and then you can put some twine in there, you can do some ribbon. It just kind of depends on how you're going to gift it, but if you are going to use it as a gift embellishment, go ahead and make it into that ornament, because then they can hang it, you could date it on the back. Lots of little options. You could even make a tiny little mini tag that has their name on it. So many fun options and a really inexpensive gift to make. This was a fun little makeover of this envelope that I had left over from Dollar Tree. Now, if you can't find this envelope, you certainly could make this with some foam board, just kind of get the same basic pieces and some spacers. But what I did was I broke down the envelope and then I traced the different pieces onto Christmas cardstock that I got in a huge pack from Hobby Lobby, and I attached those pieces back onto the envelope with some glue and then attached the 2 pieces together with some hot glue. From there, I grabbed some Dollar Tree stickers, and I couldn't decide what color to use, but I ended up going with black that just says letters to Santa. And because there is the little spacer between these 2 pieces, now there's a fun little space that you could put little letters in there. You could make it if you do have an elf that comes to visit you. Maybe it's reports to Santa, where the reports go in there. Whatever you want to do, but just a cute little piece that's really easy to make. If you need to, just grab some foam board and you can pull it together in no time. For this one, I'm going to start off with one of these large plastic ornaments and a sprig of these, whatever they're called, I'm not quite sure, flocking balls. They're called flocking balls. And on this ornament, you can kind of see, maybe you can't, there is a little line on this ornament. So what I'm going to do is take my heat knife and cut this ornament in half. From there, I'm going to take these flocking balls. Now, this project was a result of the mystery box, so I'm using what was sent to me. You could make some little alterations here and there, maybe use wooden beads instead of these, but I painted the little flocking balls white. Once that was done, I grabbed some Christmas scrapbook paper that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I measured it out so that it would fit inside this framed picture, and I attached it to the back of this picture. I took the 2 little flocking balls and I hot glued them together. We're making little snowmen here. And then I also grabbed the greenery that was originally with these flocking balls. How many times can I say that in this little segment? And I built myself a Christmas tree. That's right. I created a Christmas tree with these little greenery pieces, just kind of hot gluing them on top of each other. Took a clothespin apart and cut a little piece of that to make the stem. My little snowman needed some scarves, so I did use some pipe cleaners, a red one and a green one, to wrap around their necks to make some scarves. Time to reel this DIY in. So what I ended up doing was taking some of this oh so fun snow that does make a little bit of a mess, and I did sprinkle a little bit of that at the bottom of my ornament that I cut in half just to kind of get a little glistening snowy factor. I did attach some mini buttons to my snowman, and I used a paint marker, just to make their faces on the snowman. From there, it was just a matter of kind of assembling this together. So I hot glued down my snowman, the tree, and then I also glued a little bit of white fluff down, and then I attached the half ornament on there as well with some hot glue and finished it off with a cute little bow. And here I made a little snow globe display with snowmen that I think actually turned out pretty cute, considering I had to work with some pretty random items to make it. This is just a quick makeover of a sign, but I definitely wanted to show you this one because I have figured out how we can recreate this sign, making a cute Christmas sign using Dollar Tree supplies. So that is a project that will be coming up sooner than later. You'll be able to recreate this project using Dollar Tree supplies. But for this project at hand, all I did was I found these at Hobby Lobby on clearance, and I went in and just painted over the yellow portion of this with some red paint, and I kept it simple by cutting some files on my CRICUT and applying it with some vinyl, and that was it. Super simple, but like I said, keep your eyes open because we'll be making these again with all Dollar Tree supplies. Keep your eyes open for this brown oven mitt at Dollar Tree and grab some iron-on vinyl. You do not need a CRICUT for this one. All you need is either glitter iron-on or some white iron-on. Either hand cut some little squiggly lines, or you can use your CRICUT. You want to just heat press that down on top of your oven mitt, and then voila, you've got yourself a really cute gingerbread oven mitt. I wanted to make a cute floral arrangement to put in my gingerbread themed kitchen. So starting with one of these wood rounds from Dollar Tree, I popped off the home sign and I painted it white. Then I turned it into a peppermint by taking some red paint and painting some little segments of red along with doing some red polka dots. I found this vase at Goodwill for a couple of dollars. I took it outside and gave it a coat of white spray paint to kind of cover up the metallic color it had going on, and then brought it inside and wanted to paint it a gingerbread color. So remember earlier when I mentioned Restore is the perfect gingerbread color. So that is what I'm using to cover this vase. Once that was done, I needed to add some gingerbread details. So I just took a white Sharpie paint pen and I drew on some buttons as well as some squiggles to make this look like a little gingerbread. I grabbed some different picks from Michael's that I'll be using inside the vase, gingerbread, some little red and white balls, and some greenery. And then for that peppermint I did hot glue on a bamboo skewer that I had that was flat so that I could stick it inside the vase. And then it was just a matter of putting it all inside and it was ready to be displayed. I'll be the first to admit that I am not a fan of gnomes. They remind me of the Gremlins movie. I don't know why, I disassociate the two, but I was given this in a mystery box and I actually was very pleasantly surprised with this makeover. So using the gnome and some fabric, I started by taking this gnome and I did give the coat or the boots, a coat of white paint. You don't really need to do that because I end up painting them black, but the beard also got painted white. And then for red, his hat got painted and his body. Then taking that white fabric, I cut it into thin strips and then started to hot glue those down where the beard was. So this was giving it kind of a 3D element. I just proceeded to glue those down and then trim that up to get it looking how I wanted. From there, I did take a black Sharpie marker and decide that the boots needed to be painted black, but I didn't want them on skates. So I did a little surgery and I trimmed off the skate portion of the shoe. And then, like I said, I used a black Sharpie to color in the boots. For the hat, I did take some white fuzzy fabric that I have and I glued that up at the top of the hat and on the little pom-pom ball area as well. From there, I did paint his nose a flesh color and then just hot glued a little gingerbread ornament that I got from Hobby Lobby. And I really do like how this turned out, even though he still creeps me out just a little. Here is a super easy DIY that you can customize to any theme you may have for Christmas. So I found some images. I will definitely link them down below. And I just printed them out on my printer on some regular copy paper. I did trim them down just a little bit and use some tape to just make them into a cylinder, tape the back, and then all I did, because I did want it to have a little bit more of significant light, I did put puck lights in the inside, but they lit up so nicely, and you could do a ton of different themes with this. It is a cheap way to maybe decorate a big table, or you could set them up on your mantle. So many different options, but a very easy way to make lighted luminaries. And for those of you feeling the vintage vibe this year, I found these printables on Pinterest. I sized them down and again printed them out on my printer just using regular copy paper, and then using some frames that I got on clearance from Hobby Lobby. I simply just took a glue stick, I trimmed out my printables, stuck them on these frames, bam, done. Like super easy. So definitely keep an eye out for cheap frames and find some great printables. It is an easy way and a very economical way to change different themes throughout the year, but I'm absolutely loving this vintage vibe. If you have some little Christmas plushies, maybe some Santas, reindeer, gingerbread, then this is a great DIY to make to help you display those in a fun and creative way. So what I'm making here is a cute little peppermint ladder using dowel rods. These are 1-inch dowel rods that I started painting white that I'm using for the frame of the ladder. And then this one, I believe was a 1/4 inch, don't quote me, but I got them all at Hobby Lobby. I painted all of them white to start. From there, I did paint red stripes on my 2 larger dowel rods, and I added knobs at the ends of the dowel rods just to kind of give it a decorative element. Then for the skinnier dowel rod, I painted those red. Those are going to be the I guess steps on the ladder. And to get this attached, now I did just use a combination of wood glue as well as hot glue. Definitely do something more than just hot glue because those things will pop off. Trust me, they will pop off. So you definitely want to add some wood glue and make sure that you make it sturdy. But it is a simple build, no tools required, and I absolutely loved how this turned out. I have it leaning against one of my gingerbread trees in my kitchen with some gingerbread on it. But again, you could display any Christmas little plushies that you have. Here's a dupe that will save you tons of money. I was lucky enough to score some of these bells in the summertime at Dollar Tree. And what I did is I took them apart, took them outside, and I spray painted them with some gold metallic spray paint. From there, I brought them inside and I felt like they just needed a little something. So by adding a little bit of rub and buff, I used the antique gold. It definitely just gave the bells a depth that I absolutely loved. From there, I just put them back together. together and hung them on a piece of garland. That's it. But talk about a very budget-friendly DIY. If you can find even some pots or some vases maybe that are this shape, cups, you could definitely do it as well. Even a plastic cup, you could definitely get this look if you can't find these bells in store. But it is a great piece to hang on a mantle or even to use them scattered about on a tablescape. Another quick and easy printable DIY, again using some frames that I got on clearance from Hobby Lobby. I took some Christmas drinks. I got this file on designbundles.net. I will definitely make sure, again, everything will be linked down below. And I just put them on some whimsical fun colors. I just created a green, a yellow, and a pink background, trimmed them down, took that good old glue stick, attached it, and bam. Like, this is a 10-minute craft, super easy, and again, an easy way to add extra decor at a very reasonable cost. This was probably in my top 5 favorite DIYs from last year. I started with one of these glasses from Dollar Tree, and I painted the inside of the cup with some truffle chalk paint by the brand Waverly. And then I took a piece of foam board, and using the top of the glass, I traced around the top of it and cut that circle out. Once that was done, I did paint that brown as well, and then took some Model Magic air clay and made myself 3 little marshmallow shapes. I also grabbed more of that willow branch. I'm telling y'all, definitely pick up several of these. So many uses. I grabbed my scissors and I did trim off a couple of pieces that I'll be using for arms to put this little marshmallow snowman together. And then I also needed a straight piece that I'm going to cut into the legs. Then using my acrylic markers on one of the marshmallows, I did eyes, nose, and a mouth. And I also did some buttons on another marshmallow for his middle portion of the body. Then it was time to start assembling the cup and pulling this cute DIY together. To make sure that my little foam board piece that I cut for the topper stays in place, I did take a pool noodle, cut it down, and just fill the cup with that, and then place my little foam board circle on top of that. Then taking that infamous brown hot glue that I love to use this time of year, I covered that foam board to make it look like it was chocolate and placed my marshmallows in there. So you'll notice that I used 2 brown sticks in the middle portion of the body for arms, and then I also stuck in 2 legs. I added a little peppermint. This came from Hobby Lobby in a pack, and then finished it off with a cute red and white twine baker's bow. Twine baker's bow? I don't know. You know what I mean. And that's it. I love displaying this next to my hot cocoa bar. I cannot wait to set it up again this year, and I just think it's just the cutest. This was a little fun makeover on this patriotic stand. I started by taking it apart and then giving it a paint job. I painted the blue portion red, added some red to the bottom as well. And then on my CRICUT, I did cut out some decals to add back to the sign. I did one for reindeer snacks as well as Santa's cookies and added that back. To finish this off, I grabbed some of this Christmas fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby and that I had in my stash. I cut a couple of triangles to make a pennant banner and just attached it to some twine. And then I also hot glued on some little cookie ornaments that came from Hobby Lobby, as well as a little reindeer head. And that's it. This is a very cute way to display cookies for Santa, as well as some snacks for the reindeer. I did this in Christmas in July, if you might remember, and I said that I really do feel like there is a way that you could very easily recreate this. If you want to see it recreated with just a couple of supplies, probably from Dollar Tree, let me know down below, and I will definitely try to make that happen. And if you are not in Christmas overload yet, take a look at these projects. I dug really deep into the DIY vault to show you some of these projects, and all of these projects that you're seeing quick pans of right now are in one video, which is linked down below in the description box as well. And that wraps up the kickoff to the Christmas DIY season on my channel. Let me know down below which one of these projects was your favorite, or let me know if you've made any of these projects. Also, two things I need you to tell me so I can make sure I put out the best content for you. Number one, what type of Christmas DIYs are you most excited for? Or is it snowman? Is it gingerbread? Is it rustic? Tell me down below. And then also, what Christmas movie DIYs do you want to see? You guys know that I have done tons and tons of Christmas movie DIYs. I will link those videos down below. There's so many. You can check those out, but I would love to know some movies that you would like for me to make more DIYs for. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Here are some more videos you might enjoy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.